So, preparation for work-based learning for students requires generic and discipline-specific knowledge, skills, and of course, personal attributes that run across both. It's the generic knowledge and skills that I think we struggle with most. Until recently, when the federal government demanded we be accountable within universities for the development of graduate attributes, which are founded on generic knowledge and skills, and then there are also the discipline knowledge and skills, we didn't really know how students developed these generic knowledge and skills. We assumed that they did by osmosis or by feedback from their supervisors or their lecturers, but we weren't really sure. Now we deliberatively build in learning opportunities and assessment items into the curriculum that require students to focus on generic knowledge and skills and demonstrate it. And increasingly, those things are part of accreditation requirements as well. A lot of the generic knowledge and skills lend themselves beautifully to interprofessional education curriculum and development and delivery. And one of the things that's happening in my faculty at the moment that I'm leading is in fact a generic interprofessional preparation for practice curriculum that will begin to tackle these themes. The attributes are interesting. Students definitely come with orientations and a set of personal attributes when they start their study as a health professional. Some of those can be shaped to a certain extent through awareness and feedback and punishment. But when you have repeat offenders who don't demonstrate ethical awareness and a strong moral positioning and professionalism, or an incapacity to be self-directed and self-managing, it's tricky. And I am of the view that those are the students that we need to direct attention to help them exit from our professions early. And I rely on you as placement supervisors to help me identify those students, because it's often in placements that we become first aware that we have students who are not able to develop the attribute set that we need. I just want to touch a little bit on knowledge types. The work of Angie Titchen and Joy Higgs has informed my thinking quite a bit about this. So propositional knowledge we're all very familiar with. That's textbook knowledge, theory. It's what we teach students at university about how to assess and manage, deliver interventions and treatments. Then they get to the practice setting and suddenly a whole new set of knowledge is required because they see people doing things differently. Sometimes what's different is that it's not evidence-based practice that they're seeing, but sometimes it's professional craft knowledge. Often it's professional craft knowledge, which is the very automated, streamlined knowledge about how you actually get things done. It's the efficiency and automated routines of professional practice. And then there's the personal knowledge, and an excellent place for developing that is placement, because students have to be responsible for the welfare of other people. And for some of them that might be the first time they've actively had to be responsible for the welfare of somebody else, their clients or their patients. So knowing yourself is a major focus of clinical placements. We attempt to address it in the classroom as well, but placement is an ideal opportunity and probably the only opportunity for the development of professional craft knowledge. So, what's the role of work-based learning in the development of these knowledges? I'm really, I'll touch a little bit later on the work of Stephen Billett, but I'm increasingly of the view that placements offer the opportunity for students to put into practice what they already know, and sometimes they're confused about what they know. And I'm sure you've all had that situation where you ask a student, what do you know about X? And they go, tremble, nothing. Oh, we haven't done that at university. Now, of course, often that's not true. They have done it, but it's been presented either long enough ago that they haven't remembered it or refreshed their memory of it, or it was presented in a way that doesn't look like what it needs to look like in this context. Knowledge has to be applied within context, and that's where placement is so important. Out of placement activity comes a whole new set of knowledge and theory. which ideally students would take back into the classroom and unpack it and look at it and see how it relates to what they've already been taught at the university. That's the missing link, I think, in work-integrated learning. I don't think universities do a good enough job of taking the new knowledge that was acquired through practice and looking at it again in the lens of what was already known and what the literature tells us is good evidence-based practice. You can help students commence that process by asking them constantly what they're learning and how it relates to what they knew. But it's really a job that we need to do a lot better. Okay, so knowledge, skills and attributes are integrated into a very skilled performance. And high-tech, authentic environments, not necessarily high-tech, authentic learning environments, the best of which, or the most frequent of which, is placements, but they're not the only authentic learning environments, is the site for that integration.